Ms. Thanaletchimi.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise in support of Budget 2018 presented by Minister Heng Swee Keat. I'm heartened that the budget is all-inclusive and it embraces both the short-term and the long-term needs of Singapore. Sir, I'll be speaking on two broad areas, that is, industry transformation map and women at work. On operationalizing industry transformation maps. In our journey of economic transformation, I agree that the approach of industry transformation maps, in short ITMs, for the 23 industries was a good start. We need to work on the strategies to operationalize them. The ITMs were a product of tripartite efforts and should be treated beyond a paper exercise. All relevant stakeholders should continue to come together and implement the ideas on the ITMs. This should be an ongoing effort. On 8 November 2017, Minister Gan Kim Yong launched the Healthcare ITM, which mapped out the key strategies to steer the healthcare industry and workforce towards better skills and better work, so that they can deliver better care for Singaporeans. The Singapore healthcare system is confronted with an aging population with increasing chronic conditions, coupled with a slower workforce growth and rising healthcare costs. Minister Gan presented 3 Beyond, that is, beyond healthcare to health, beyond hospital to community, and beyond quality to value, to ensure our healthcare system meets the 3 core objectives of accessibility, quality, and affordability. The future directions for the healthcare industry have been put forward clearly on the ITM. Therefore, it is important to operationalize the ideas effectively. Now I shall speak on National Skills Framework. First and foremost, there is a need to develop a national skills framework for current skills in demand and future skills. Skills Future Singapore has started its work on the development of the skills framework for 6 healthcare professions, namely physiotherapy, speech therapy, occupational therapy, nursing, patient service associate, and pharmacy technician. We should continue to look at other healthcare professions such as therapy assistant and community nurse in view of the shift towards community care. We should also consider the job positions in the administrative job group to ensure that the relevant skills and training are mapped out for their career progression. There is fear amongst administrative and ancillary staff group, like the health attendants, that with automation and robotics, will their job be redundant? One way would be to embark on progressive wage model across all levels of healthcare professions. PWM will help to increase wages of healthcare employees through skills upgrading and productivity improvement. Another way would be to gradually move away from only recognizing academic qualification to purely skill-based remuneration to break glass ceiling. Hence, the shift towards modularized training is highly recommended. The Institutes of Higher Learning, IHL, should develop such modules to deepen the skills of healthcare employees. In return, the healthcare institutions, both public and private, should embrace and recognize these skills attained by the employees and remunerate them accordingly. Let me share with you the plight of such group of workers who felt their career is stagnant. These are the secretaries for the clinical departments in the hospitals. They have no room for growth or career advancement unless they attain higher academic qualification, that is diploma or degree. This should not be the case if we truly embark on skills-based progressive wage model and elimination of glass ceiling. Next, it is also crucial to identify jobs at risk and work out feasible plans for affected employees to ensure the smooth transition of employees from existing jobs to new jobs by engaging the Ministry of Health, public healthcare clusters, and various healthcare institutions. For example, the jobs in medical records department in various healthcare institutions would be replaced by National Electronic Health Record, NEHR. Essentially, we need to engage the relevant stakeholders early to minimize disruption to employees' livelihood. While we look at existing jobs at risk, it is equally important to identify future jobs to work out the skills and training required. In addition, Other support schemes such as a professional conversion programs, career support program, and work or career trial would supplement the existing efforts in attracting local talents into the growing manpower demand for healthcare industry. We need to find ways to shorten PCP programs and improve the quality and standards of healthcare professionals, especially for career switches. In this aspect, we need to draw in the expertise and wisdom of professional licensing body. It is critical for us to change so as to attract more locals into the healthcare profession. It also would be worthwhile to conduct a study on the nearly 4,000 non-practicing nurses to understand their reasons for exiting from this profession and what would make them return as a practicing nurse. With the shift to community nursing and focus on intermediate long-term care ILTC sector, we will need more nurses with the relevant skill sets and attributes. I would like to suggest 3 ways to embark on this. First, provide opportunity to workers in other industries who are potentially in danger of retrenchment or whose industries are in the sunset industry. Work with the relevant stakeholders, licensing body, IHL, and professional groups to review the current training program and provide them with bite-sized curriculum. 2. Invite non-practicing nurses to return to nursing, especially in community nursing and ILTC sector. Provide them with the specific skill sets required for community nursing and allow flexible work arrangement. Though return to work program has been fairly successful in healthcare, we can tweak it to make it more attractive for such group of non-practicing nurses who are mainly housewives. Third, tap in the matured workforce to create supporting roles such as healthcare assistants or healthcare attendants, provide training for them so that they have the relevant skills. These are decent jobs that will allow our matured workers to join the healthcare sector. Formation of Healthcare Academy. Last but not the least, I would like to put forward the idea of setting up a healthcare academy at tripartite level with the participation of relevant stakeholders. I mooted this suggestion at the last budget debate. I would like to reignite this, especially after having gathered more ground feedback from various professional groups of workers and relevant stakeholders. The 2 key objectives of the Healthcare Academy are to provide enhanced skills training to all healthcare professionals identified in the healthcare ITM, and to standardize the foundational core skills training for identified healthcare professionals, especially in ILTC sector. The verticals of the skill set training must be seen in parallel to the horizontals of the soft skill set. This is all the more important as we see an increasing number of healthcare professionals bringing healthcare services to patients at home. As the home setting is an uncontrolled environment compared to a controlled hospital setting, we need to equip our healthcare professionals with the relevant skills to deal with unforeseen situations and in managing their emotional and mental well-being. Now, let me touch on the topic of women at work. As a society, we embrace inclusivity, and as corporation, we should embrace corporate social responsibility, where human capital, regardless of gender, has to be nurtured and retained. I concur with Labour MP Desmond Chu that more can be done to help our young parents thrive in the new economy. It is particularly challenging for women who often have to juggle work with family commitments. I'll be speaking mainly on family-friendly workplace and employment and employability of women. Value the family behind every worker. The topic on family-friendly workplace has been a discussion point without much yield. The slow adoption of tripartite standards on flexi work arrangement is rather concerning. Singapore remains a rather conservative country when it comes to caring for and valuing the family that is behind every worker. The burden of caring for the young and elderly often fall on the shoulders of women. Companies in various sectors can do more to help female workers. I would like to share a case where a nurse working in a healthcare setting had to give up her job because she was not granted flexible work arrangement as she had to look after her children. The relationship with her reporting officer, RO, became strained after her RO refused to grant her flexible work arrangement as she could not find any person to take up parts of a job or of her duties. She related her experience to the union, but decided not to take it up with the Human Resource Department, as she did not want to cause any trouble. Sir, I shall speak in Tamil now. இந்த தருணத்தில் சுகாதாரத்துறை
At this juncture, I would like to share a case of a nurse whom I know working in a healthcare setting who had to give up her job because she was not granted flexible work arrangement as she had to look after her children. The relationship with her employer became bitter after her reporting officer refused to grant her flexible work arrangements as she could not find any other nurse to take up parts of her duties. She related her experience to our union, but decided not to take it up with the higher ups as she did not want to cause any trouble, and therefore she did not wish to take it up with the higher authorities. Now back in English.
Who devoted most of her working life had requested for flexible work arrangement as she has to look after her school-going children and ailing mother-in-law. She too had her request turned down. What do these anecdotal stories tell us? While the top management of most companies are supportive of flexible work arrangement in principle, however, it does not seem that such support trickles down to every level within the organization. Departments and supervisors do not know exactly how to implement flexible work arrangement successfully. They have KPIs to meet and therefore tend to take a hard stand with such requests. In both cases, they typically involve women who are burdened and who are financially strapped. These women will need support throughout their lifetime if they are not working or fall out of employment for such reasons. On mandating the right to request for flexible work arrangement, I urge the government to commission a study on the plight of these working women so as to better understand the issues faced by different industries. I agree there must be progressive effort made to create awareness. There is also a pressing need for sharing best practices in a more pervasive manner. We must have a change agent, early adopter amongst companies and industries that have successfully rolled out FWA to share with the rest of the sectors and be a catalyst for change. I also call upon the government to consider mandating the right to request for flexible work arrangement if all efforts, I repeat, if all efforts to persuade employers in this aspect fail. Time and tide wait for no man. Therefore, we must change before more women at childbearing age fall out of employment. This will surely pose social problem as our population ages. Now on caregiving leave. A young mother whose child was admitted into the hospital due to the several bouts of epileptic attacks had to take leave to care for her child. Her supervisor was unhappy that she took too many leaves to care for a sick child. Having been balked with KPIs such as waiting time, the supervisor gave the young mother an ultimatum to resign from the job if she failed to make other childcare arrangements. The young mother needed her job so that she could continue to support her family and her child's medical expenses. She approached the union for help and managed to settle the issue amicably with the union's intervention. This brings me to my point about government mandating caregiving leave. Not many employers are adopting such good practices where staff feel cared for, and in return, employers will get 100% loyalty and support from the staff when the company needs them during the dire situation, without counting hours worked. Generally, the behavior of many staff will fall into the category of good deeds beget good deeds. As a developed country, while we are concerned of the economic growth, it should not be at the expense of social needs. About 50% of our population are women, and increasingly men too are embracing caregiving roles. It is hence essential for the government to look at this from a broader viewpoint. On lactation room, The third issue which I would like to raise specifically for women is to mandate the allocation of lactation room in all new commercial buildings as well as industrial workplaces where offices are located. Can the government consider calling on owners of the building to set aside certain percentage of the gross floor area for lactation room with some incentives given? For existing building, we should evaluate the possibility of creating space for this purpose. With lactation room, we are promoting breastfeeding and inadvertently branding the workplace as a baby-friendly workplaces. We need the government support in this area. Singapore is among the highest gestational diabetes rates globally. Women with gestational diabetes are up to 7 times more likely to develop type 2 diabetes. However, longer duration of breastfeeding showed a correlation with reduction in risk of women developing type 2 diabetes. Now in Malaysia, isu ketiga yang ingin
The third issue which I would like to raise specifically for women is to mandate the allocation of lactation rooms in all new commercial buildings as well as industrial workplaces where offices are located. Can the government consider calling on owners of the building to set aside certain percentage of the gross floor area for lactation room as well as offering some incentives to building owners? For existing buildings, we should evaluate and identify the possibility of creating space for this purpose. By having lactation rooms, we are promoting the benefits of breastfeeding and promote such workplaces as workplaces that are conducive for female workers who are mothers with babies or infants. We need the government support in this issue. The gestational diabetes mellitus rates in Singapore are among the highest globally. Mothers with this condition are also 7 times more likely to develop type 2 diabetes. However, a longer duration of breastfeeding showed a correlation with reducing the risk of women developing type 2 diabetes.
We need companies to understand this. Studies have shown that mothers should breastfeed her infants for the first 6 months and up to 2 years of the child's life for the benefit of the child and mother. With 4 months of maternity leave, mothers tend to give up breastfeeding and switch to baby formula because of the lack of lactation room at the workplace. We should not allow this to happen. Currently, the WorkPro Work-Life Grant, the developmental grant allows owners of post-1990 buildings to tap on the funding cap at $20,000 to put in public accessible lactation facilities. Office building owners which have not used up permissible gross floor area will be able to tap on the funding to put in place the facilities. However, the take-up rate is very slow. Can we do more to increase the take-up rate? Let's make Singapore a socially responsible society at all levels. Make every workplace a family-friendly workplace. On women in STEM industry, lastly, the employment and employability of women, especially in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics industry, is a major concern. With shrinking workforce, the reliance on women to set foot in all industries becomes dire. I certainly would like to believe that there is no gender-specific or gender-biased industry at present in Singapore, but more so the preference of women to be working in certain specific sector. I urge the government to do more to nurture the next generation of female students to be well geared into STEM subjects and at later age join the STEM industry. We must do all we can to change the mindset of parents, employers, and workers. There is a growing need to grow the workforce in the STEM sector as the future jobs are more likely to be generated in this sector. While we embark on return to work program, especially for matured women, we need to be targeted. I would like to suggest that we work on each of the 23 industry sectors to customize the approach of training and induction as well as work trial. Mentors are of great help in those identified professions as they can handhold the individual, providing them with confidence and assurance. There should be longer work trial period for complex jobs. I hope the government can do more for the return to work program so that it can be more pervasive. Let's embrace and employ different strokes for different folks. Mr. Speaker, sir, with this I conclude. Thank you.